Welcome and hello, hello and welcome, welcome and hello. My motto, my credo, my ethos is right here on my cap. It's by Sofi, Nafa Feppo. And by Nafa Feppo, I'm trying to communicate to you, don't sue me, bro, when you lose all your money. But welcome and hello, hello and welcome and hello. It is un poco mas, guys. They call me Little Danny Cornbread DiCarlo because I'm moist, I'm doughy, and I crumble under pressure. They call me Little Danny Noto because Anthony Noto was my biological father. They call me the Tugboat because blah, blah, blah. They call me Stubby Cohiba. They call me DJ Patchy Drizzle. They call me MC Al Dente. My Christian name, of course, is Tabasco Rojas, as many of you know, but you can call me whatever the hell you want. I don't really care. Guys, more false volatility, more price fixing, more shenanigans. First, you have Bank of America, upgrading the stock from 17. I didn't sleep that much. It had nothing to do with this, but upgrading the stock from 17 to 2050 or whatever. It's like an invitation from Seinfeld. It's an ungrade. There's no way you can upgrade a stock to where it's like 30, 40%, whatever it is below the current value. And then you have our old buddy Goldman, and both Bank of America and Goldman Sachs were underwriters of the Sofi offering recently at 27.50. Goldman was the lead underwriter, but Bank of America was also the underwriter. I could show you the filing on that, but I'm sure you guys know that already. Here's the message. If there's one message from your chubby study buddy, old Danny, it's don't panic, because all they did is bounced it off this line again. Okay? They bounced it off this line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It broke down below there, but 6, 7, 8, and then 9th time. Okay, and that's in a matter of like 6 months. 9 tests off of that low. And they're clearly, their algorithms are accumulating along there because you see institutional ownership continue to rise. Now, month on month, it was basically steady. But considering last quarter, the stock hit 33 times and, almost 33 twice, you would think those institutions would just be dumping their shares like a fire sale up there above 30. Payday, let's get out. But that's not what happened. They keep accumulating. The strongest volume almost that you've ever seen on the stock, occurred up here above $30. There was a market above 30. It wanted to go above 32. It wanted to keep on moving up into a run, but the market makers just were not ready to let that happen because you and I still own too many millions of shares. And that's not how the scam works. They don't algo hold this thing right at this level for 5 months so you and I can go get rich. And I've said it about 1 billion times now, but I'll say it again because really, what else do I have to say? I mean, why do they keep bashing the stock off the same lows? It's not just this line, but look at this line. Look at this horizontal line. I mean, yes, granted, here it's a little bit higher, 27 as opposed to, 26 as opposed to 25. But either way you look at it, just in this little run, there's been a lot of dramatic false volatility, huge moves. I mean, this kind of looks like a big, scary spider or a big, angry bullfrog pattern or something. I mean, it's just fucking ridiculous. And then B of A downgrades, and then Goldman piles on, and they downgrade the stock from 27 to 24. Just lovely. And then Barclays comes out, at least somebody without a tiny wing in this group, and upgrades their hold from 23 to 28, which is nice. I mean, because Barclays has been, touchdown Terry Ma has been fairly bearish on this stock for years. And then Goldman just inexplicably, I mean, how do you explain these calls, Mike Ing? Weren't they up to like 32 just the other day? What is this jabroni talking about? Where is his SoFi call? Hasn't even had a chance to update yet. I don't know. Maybe they'll update this thing. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, he's a hold at 1250, and then he's a hold he reiterated today at 29. But it struck me that they raised their price target at some point. I don't think this is really all their calls. I think there's some shenanigans going on here too. But if you look back, I mean, they were making a lot of these sort of wet blanket calls, these sort of tiny wing, pump the brakes calls. I used to call them the three amigos of FUD. It was, who was it? Goldman, UBS, and then somebody else. I can't remember. Used to make a video about this every single day when SoFi was coming off the lows, but the chart should give you absolutely nothing to worry about. The fact that they just had another dramatic, I mean, how many weak hands can jump into the stock and jump out of the stock? Who of us that got in the stock, under $10, even around $5, are we really going to be scared of that move from 29 to 26? I know it's very dramatic when it happens in one day and it's scary and nobody likes to. I mean, I probably took a bigger paper loss on that drop than any of you. And it hurts, I don't like to see my account, get decimated. But it is what it is, guys. This company is going up ultimately. The business model is absolutely unstoppable, inevitable. Like I said many times, a few weeks ago, I've never seen a relatively small company where I am so sure they are going to grow into a giant company as SoFi. I mean, I just think they've built something here that is much more unique and much more special than anybody's giving them credit for. I know it might sound sappy, and maybe it's just because I'm, too invested in the stock and, I can't see the forest for the trees or whatever. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Robinhood. I mean, they've been absolutely crushing it. There's no two ways about it. Let's see who that was, guys. Sorry. Hate to interrupt my videos. I know most people like they have, better production values and stuff, but unfortunately I'm running, a bunch of businesses and I just got stuff to do where I just can't shut off my phone for an hour at a time. I guess I could put it on silent and look at it, but I forgot. Mea culpa. Lo siento. Lo siento. Anyway, guys, you see the stock, starting to recover. I think it was down as much like over 10%, maybe 11%. What's interesting is how much volume there is and how much this really doesn't look like any type of an organic dump. They were algo holding it, pre-market, and then it just falls off a cliff to 2650. This little recovery drawing people back into 27 and then taking it all the way back down, ultimately below 26. I don't know what the day's range is. Was it below? Just kind of eyeballing this, guys. I have no idea what's going on. No, so the day's range was 2603. So if that's the case, I don't know if that's the case. If that's the case, that's actually, a bit bullish because clearly they're driving it all the way down there to hit those stops. But anyway, I'm certainly not going to call, a drop from 29 to 26, overnight or just in a matter of minutes, like certainly not bullish. But in a sense it is, because the manipulation, the price fixing, it's not being driven back down to 20. Like the buying comes in heavy, and that's depicted in this volume, almost 100 million shares traded already. It's not even like halfway through the day. And this is basically known. So they close the offering. And as soon as they close the offering, B of A hits the stock and it falls off a cliff. This is reminiscent of that New Year's massacre with the KBW call. You guys all remember that one. You guys all remember that Christmas song. Still ice in my nuts from that. Stock ended up falling like 40%, just a couple days or something. It was ridiculous. But anyway. Yeah, the PE is really high, but I mean, they've just started making money, a few quarters ago. So yeah, the EPS growth is about to absolutely ramp. Like, why I think that's the whole key for me. Why I still think the stock is undervalued, because the incremental margins on all the new money they're bringing in, the growth, I think is going to be much higher than people think. I think ultimately the CAGR on the top line is already much higher than people think. And I think their assumptions are just so flawed. I think these analysts the guy Tanner was talking to the other night, very smart. No, he's forgotten more about all this stuff than I'll ever know in my life. But the point is, they're very, very conservative how they view this company. And I think that's a little bit of a misread because Noto is so conservative how he runs the company, and he's so hedged, and they have, so many safeguards in place. They have ratios that just no other bank could even imagine having that margin of safety. So I don't think analysts need to put so much wiggle room into the downside as they do into their models and stuff, because it's like, oh, we just took another, 20% off the top because we figure, a lot of SoFi customers got tiny wings. And, like, stop being so conservative with this thing. They're always sandbagging. They have new products coming. And, a lot of the good analysts are still, above 30. Of course, you got touchdown Dan Dolev, the baby seal, coming in at 38. You got to respect him. I mean, I heard him talk about Sofi. I forget where it was, but I heard him give like an hour interview. Dude is smart. He has a team like Tevis. I mean, he's not an international playboy like Tevis. Doesn't look like a young Elvis mixed with Zorro like Tevis. He's also not represented on Un Poco Mas by the Tevis 3000 2.0. Let's take that offline. You're right. We can't afford the real Tevis and his team here. We'd love to bring him on, but we simply can't afford his fee. So he brought on the Tevis 3000 2.0 in his stead, and I think is filling in ably, given the fact that it is a 99-cent noisemaker. What would be the key learnings here? Well, the key learnings here would be it would be better to hire the real Tevis. But again, we just can't get him. Canadian FinTech Mafia has him locked up. If he comes on any other shows outside the Canadian FinTech Mafia, Steve will get him in a headlock. The big sexy will pop his eyeballs out. Much to the disappointment of all the women all over the world. Anyway, enough about Tevis. But yeah, Tevis has had great coverage on BitMiner. Really in-depth stuff. The level of analysis you get from the Canadian FinTech Mafia for free is just outstanding. Epic. Huge. Anyway, yeah, Anthony Noto is an extremely handsome man, which is no surprise considering he is my biological father. Thank you, Clap My Dog. I'll take that as a compliment. Still waiting for my size 4XL SoFi windbreaker. Still waiting for my preferred shares in lieu of an inheritance. Still waiting for an acknowledgement. The lock of hair I sent into SoFi HQ, asking him to test it versus Papa. No answer. Oh, I'm an idiot. BITF better than BitMiner. Is that right? Anthony Skripowski has spoken. Bought the super dip. Yeah, I added some leaps. I added some sort of calls just for right after the ER. I'm ready to throw down. So I control, I don't know, 30 or 40,000 more shares than I controlled when I woke up. But whatever. I'll do what I want. Quote Eric Cartman. Manipulation at its finest, Piner 74, but nothing's finer than being in your diner with my friend Piner. I don't know why I'm thinking about Seinfeld, that I haven't watched Seinfeld in like decades, but I still remember like every word of the series. What's the deal with YouTube? I mean, it's a bunch of morons who can't get laid trying to validate their shitty buys. I mean, am I right? Am I right? I've got a tiny wing. I wear super tight jeans. Anyway, yeah, it's total manipulation, man. Like, they try to prey upon the fact that you have a tiny wing. They know you have insecurities. They get you to sell the dip and smell the rip. That's the whole idea. Leave you standing in an outhouse. You bleacher sniffer. Going around to the state fairs offering to clean up for free. Oh, God. I hate you guys. Anyway, you guys want to see what the short interest is? Honestly, I'm pretty sure they haven't caught up to this one because they're going to be shorting it, but they're not. Yeah, it's not showing. It's actually showing them returning a few shares, which I just don't buy. Believe me, that'll go down. SoFi sinks as B of A resumes its underperformed post-capital raise. this, and you see the current report, like this is just funny because if you look back at this filing, two of the, I won't click on it, but the lead underwriter is Goldman, and then B of A Securities is another underwriter of the offering. So two of the underwriters of this offering at 2750, just intentionally crash it. Like, why would Goldman downgrade SoFi today? And why would it downgrade it from, basically exactly where the offering was down to 24? It's a weird downgrade. Like, 3-4 weeks before the ER, no material changes other than, the offering that you're the lead underwriter on. Selling that to institutional customers at 2750. And then all of a sudden, you want another 15% off after the big fall. It's recovered after the offering, and then the lead underwriter of the offering is trying to crash the stock. You can't make this stuff up, but that's Goldman. I mean, that's what they do. And you could see, also while they're downgrading, I mean, I don't know, I probably have to log back in. Sorry guys, let me log back into Fintel. Yeah, it's not working. I hate Fintel. Anyway, let's see. So if you go over to SoFi, I'm just curious, like what Goldman, I think they were adding. That's what I recall. But yeah, if you look at sort of the share counts here, you go down a little bit. Let's see what Goldman was doing. Goldman Sachs, they got a put. They reduced their put, so they reduced their short position. They reduced their long position in Q3 by 27% down to 3.7 million shares. Where's their call? I know they have calls somewhere, but I don't see it here. Anyway, yeah, so they did reduce their position, so fair enough. But obviously, the underwriting has really nothing to do with their trading. It's two totally separate businesses, and of course, if they're going to make money on underwriting, they're going to do it and sell it for the price that the customer tells them to sell it for, as long as there's willing and able buyers, which obviously there were. So, it is what it is, but it's just a very, the timing, it's not questionable. It's obvious. Two major players like Bank of America and Goldman Sachs, two of the biggest names in banking, in finance. Bank of America is like the number 2 bank in the country. And I don't know, Goldman's one of the biggest investment banks, but they're not one of the biggest banks by assets, maybe like 5, or I don't know. I have no idea. 10, who knows? But it's just a nut shot day. I mean, I'm not selling, I'm buying. And it's just one of those things. It's the false volatility. It's like, because it's designed to get that emotional response. It's designed to basically, hey, I didn't sell the first 7 tests of this line, but I'm going to sell on the 8th test. I don't know how many people they get with that. And hey, I don't even know if that's what, maybe there's some major institutions actually bailing out of the stock all at the same time, but it certainly just doesn't look like that. The slope of this thing, this gap, it's just totally weird. And then all this volume coming out of nowhere. I mean, it's a Tuesday. It's a nondescript Tuesday. There's really no reason, to panic or anything. But it is what it is. People panicked. They dumped the bottom. But this is just interesting, that they didn't hit that 26 stop. I just wonder why. Because you think they could have hit it quite easily. Like, with all these shares they're burning, why would they stop there? I mean, not that much volume came in. I mean, that's a big candle. That's, 417,000 shares. So, I mean, how many, the other thing you have to sort of realize structurally or technically is, like I said, now 18 trading days left to the ER. There's not a lot of room to maneuver. And the last ER was, if it wasn't a home run, like I said, it was a strong triple. Definitely exceeded expectations. Pardon me. Yeah, I mean, Pioneer, it's like the fact that Bank of America and Goldman can come out and not coordinate these calls to not move the price of the stock. I mean, of course, they would never do anything illegal or unethical to make money. like sell their customers a shitty deal. You guys remember that when Congress was like grilling them after the financial crisis when they were just dumping worthless garbage on their clients. Man, it's like better them than us. Screw you guys, I'm going home. But no, it's considered free speech. You know, that's the thing. You can't restrict free speech, but I think it should be treated in a sense like insider information that you can't trade. You should be locked up. If you're going to officially make these calls that, you know, go up, they obviously move the market significantly. They shouldn't, but over the short term, they do. I mean, what's crashing the stock today? This stock was just completely recovering after the offering. It was going up, went up like 6-7% yesterday. Clearly, you know, Mark just, you know, smashed down the 50-day moving average. And what happens? Bank of America and Goldman, you know, destroy the stock basically to get you to sell down there. Then you see it's not going to 20. They don't have the balls to do that. They don't have the minerals because they know we'll just buy the hell out of it. Kramer, like, start nibbling at 23. Nibble on these nuts for the charitable trust. Oh, I hate you guys. I hate Kramer. I hate everybody. Anyway, it is what it is, guys. Tons of volume. I just hope you guys were buying down there, buying this dip. It's like I said, the stock wanted to pop up above 33 twice after earnings. It was ready to take off. Nobody was dumping on that. No retail was dumping on it. So they have to play these games, you know, for months to try to get you to dump at these lows. Let them get out of these short positions, flip and go completely long, and then drive the stock up to 50 or 60 bucks. Because this thing can go there. There's not as many shares floating around, I think, as people think. I think a lot of retail has a lot more conviction on this stock than they do on just about anything else. I know I do. It's going to take more than price action to convince me there's something wrong with SoFi. There's something overvalued about SoFi, or there's some reason to be concerned when people were rushing in above 30. They're like, oh, just buy at 20. Yeah, I mean, that's only a third less. Why not? Tomorrow, I'm going to buy NVIDIA at 125. I mean, that's where I want to buy it, you know? Forget the fact that it's 30%, you know, just, it's so easy to make these proclamations. Hey, you know, I would buy SoFi at 22, but it's not there. We should have bought at 5 like we did. Anyway, I love SoFi so very much too. Clap my dog, probably too much. Guys, I had this hat made up. If you guys want to get one, I have, of course, this buy SoFi Nafa Feppo. I also have available my Not Alert for FinTech Wrench series, but I had this hat made up, and I'm very, well, I almost knocked over my sparkling water. It says, Iova, let me zoom this out. You guys can see it. It says, Iova shorts have tiny wings. And isn't it the truth? I'm really proud of this one. It's got that groovy retro 70s type of font, but it does in fact say Iova shorts have tiny wings. If you're familiar with IOVA, is shorted about 36%. They've got cures for cancer. Problem is they got a group of tiny wing shorts on them like hound dogs on a pound of back bacon, if you know what I mean. Oh, anyway, guys, I am so tired. I got to get some coffee or go to sleep, and I'm not allowed to drink coffee. I got a little news for you. I got a little secret. Green tea doesn't do anything. Okay, it's delicious, it's calming, it's soothing. But if you're about to fall asleep and crash your car into oncoming traffic, give me a good old-fashioned cup of joe. Give me some cowboy coffee, strong and hot. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? I'm not going to say teas for the ladies, but if you're playing from the ladies' tea, probably drinking you a cup of Lipton, if you know what I mean. Plus, Lipton's not very good. I have to invest in these like artisan green teas, because I go to the Arroyo Diner. Now that's uptown. I also invested in a hat that says Big Mountain Fudge Cake. I'm making an investment in myself, buying all these trucker hats, these custom trucker hats. I'm investing in America. They're produced down in Houston, Texas by a friend of mine. You guys need any trucker hats, just let me know. Know what I mean? Anyway, this video is stupid. This day is stupid. I hate the fact that oh my God, Super Micro is so cheap. They just put out really good news today. Really good news. I might do a video on this. Like, they're going to be first with the new Rubin, the new processors, the new, there's some like tweak. It's not a totally new generation Vera Rubin platform. But I'll go into detail on that. But SMCI, even if this quarter is not the biggest home run in the world, stick with this one. Don't dump this thing. I know people are like, oh, it was 60, it was 70. It's going to be back in the hundreds because they are going to knock the growth out of the park. There's every reason to use Super Micro. Cheaper, faster, easier to service. It's all about, time to deploy, time to actual operation. These projects drag on and it costs a ton of money in overages and everything else. And Super Micro has been doing this and they get it done. Now, I know there's changes that pushed revenue forward and a lot of people are like, oh, that's just going to happen again. I don't think the market's going to give them another chance. I'd really love to hear about a new CFO, though I'm not holding my breath on that one. Oh, smoker ovens. I've been searching for smokers. Anyway, that's really all I have on this. It's really not that much news, but what do you guys think earnings going to be? I know somebody was saying 18 cents. I'm looking at, I'm looking at 15 to 16 cents. I'm really hoping they can hit 16 cents. I think that really bodes well for next year, to hit $1. I think EPS is going to grow a lot faster than people think because so much of the, incremental revenue is going to go to the bottom line. They don't have a lot of costs to set up these new products. They're already paying for Galileo. They're already paying all these engineers and stuff. That's the beauty of having everything in-house. It's not like, some new project comes and you have to go hire all these companies and outside people. You own the means of production. You control your own destiny. You've got that club in your bag. Now step up and hit the shot confidently. Yeah, I got about 185 to the pin. That's a sand wedge. I'm going to hit about a 90% sand wedge. Haven't played golf in a long time. I was really good at golf when I was a little kid. I didn't play for many, many years. And I came back and tried to play and I didn't know how to play at all. It was like painful. Oh, SoFi is a great swing trade right now. I mean, especially if you could have caught it down near 26. I mean, that's just too much of a haircut just because it's getting closer and closer. I know they put it off 26, like I just said, 7 times in the last 5 months or whatever it is. But the fact is now you have all the momentum from last earnings. You got this incredibly stellar earnings. And what's happened? You've gone from 31.50 coming into earnings now all the way down today to 26. So, off the high, you were almost at 33 down to 26. And the stock came down into the 23s on this thing. So, just in the last, this is why you should never be scared. Never be scared. Just in the last month, was it 2? That's close. Call that a tie. 2, 3 days, it was lower here. 3, 4, 5, 6. Just in the last month, it was below 26 or at 26, 6 different days in the last month. And then it was just popped up to 30, just the other day before closing at, 29, 22 or whatever. So this is all fake volatility. There's no major news that would drive the stock, from these levels in one day. And a lot of that's been on pretty low volume the last month. Obviously, you have the holidays in there. So these were some very, very low volume days when it was trading in this 27 region. This was the lowest volume you've seen on SoFi, 14 million, 26 million, very, very low volume. So this was kind of, I don't know. I don't really like that price action either. But that's how SoFi works. They algo hold the thing. You can see it pushing up. You can see I keep saying they want to buy 26, 27, especially 26. If they can get 25, market makers are salivating. But they'll buy here all day long. They know Anthony Noto has something in his front pocket for you. Why don't you reach and see what it is? Napoleon butterscotch. Anyway, I hate this. I hate you guys. I hate these types of days. I hate Tuesdays. I hate these personalized trucker caps. VZ Rover, I love how you can downgrade your competition and people believe. Yeah. I mean, you have to ask, is Goldman really in competition? I mean, their Marcus product was such a dud, such a turd. I can't even believe they're still trying to sell that piece of shit. Whoever came up with that Marcus concept should be summarily fired. What's that CEO rave guy? But honestly, Goldman stock has been really good to me recently. So, I mean, I think I was buying, I forget, 500 or whatever. It's been a huge gain. I made huge gains on Bank of America stock, JP Morgan stock, Goldman stock. I mean, a lot of them in a slower move came along with SoFi. I mean, Bank of America was down 32, even lower. JP Morgan was down, way down. Wells made a huge, the whole banking sector was very, very down. It just made this huge swing trade. So SoFi looks good, right now. I think it's going to come up very, very, very much, even pre-ER. Because I think not analysts, but shorts and bears they have to take into account that this ER could be, even better than their best case scenario. And a lot of people, I saw certain videos on YouTube talking about, sort of a hidden windfall in there with their breakup with Chime. There might be, if that would be a one-time item. So it would affect EPS, but it would be, taken out and their normalized EPS or whatever. So it's all algorithms, Billy Jack. It's all holograms, like those Tupac concerts, man. Oh, do you think SMCI hits 10.5 billion on revenue? It'll go back to $60. I don't think it'll go back to 60 instantly, but I think that would do a long way to working its way back up towards 60. I think that could bring it up to around 45 to 50, just hitting 10.5. But I think really people need to see 10 because they did 5 and they're talking about 30, 36 on the low side. And they're talking about deferred revenues from last quarter that should be landing in this quarter. So this quarter should really be juiced for SMCI. So if they can't hit over 10.5, you could see this thing sell off. I think 10, they'll be okay. 9 will be iffy. I think they really need to sell about 11, but I don't know if that's possible. That's obviously, more than 100% increase from last quarter. It's a tall order, even in a market that is, admittedly, it's like the beginning of the product cycle. This is where they should start recognizing those revenues. So I have no idea. Maybe they could have 11 in there. I don't think so, but 10.5, I think that's kind of what I'm looking for. 10 to 10.5. I would be very happy if they could do 11 billion. I mean, I think anybody would. That puts them at quite a run rate. That puts, 40 billion in reach. They could do, 11, 12, and 13 or something. Doesn't quite get you there. Chris P90X. Yeah, you got what I'm talking about. Yeah. So 15 organically and then getting that fee in there, 17 to 18. That's interesting. Are you familiar with FMCB and FMBL banks in your neck of the woods, Danny? If that's farmers and merchants, yeah. I've been doing business with farmers and merchants since I'm knee-high to a grasshopper. Bank and loan and trust and all that. So if that's who that is, I didn't know their ticker symbols. I never owned the stock, actually. I thought they were a private company, to be honest. It used to be, but obviously, if they're stock, I might be wrong about that. But anyway, yeah, if that's farmers and merchants, I'm very, very familiar with them. They're damn office all the time. But yeah, they're from up where I grew up, where there's a lot of farmers. When is more dilution? I don't know. I think the money that they have could carry them into being cash flow positive. It's really hard to say. I mean, I don't think they're going to dilute again less than the price they diluted before. If you look at the last offering, low 20s, this offering, high 20s. So I think they're only going to dilute from a position of strength when they can get the price they want for those shares. They definitely aren't diluting, out of urgent need or anything. So kind of have to look at it from that perspective. But I don't know. Could happen. Could certainly happen, Gilgo. Your name still rhymes with dildo. What's up, Brian with a Y? Hello, friend. Hello, friends. Anyway, guys, I didn't really have anything else to say. I didn't really have anything to say in the first place. So I'm going to get the hell out of here and do some of my work and do some boring stuff, do some mail, call some clients, grovel, plead, try to explain away some of my horrible mistakes. No problem. Clap my dog. Thank you. Brian, thanks. Gilgo, thanks. Stockman Mark, appreciate you, buddy. Chris, keep going on the P90X, buddy. You're so vascular. So vascular. Stockman Mark, what's going on? The Great Billy Jack, VZ Rover. Thank you, VZ Rover. Another Brian with a Y. How many freaking Brians with a Y do we have here? What's wrong with an I? You guys all have to be special. You guys all hate vowels. Come on. Sunjul's Foot. SMCI is free money. I completely agree with you. This valuation on SMCI is such a total artificial bunch of nonsense. You'd think they were the arch criminals of the century based on just a few. I don't think their accounting was even nearly as bad as people make it out. I mean, the adjustments they had to make were very, very minor. Their numbers were basically accurate. Just some of the controls were very questionable in some of their procedures and, the related party stuff. I get it. I'm not saying they did everything right, but the business is totally real. Their compliance issues and legal issues, okay, that's a fair criticism. But that doesn't mean there's anything fundamentally wrong with the business. And I really think they're getting that stuff straightened out, but, a new CFO would be really nice at this point. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Poco ticker by Poco. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, guys. Guys, thanks for watching. It's Un Poco Moss. I really appreciate you. Peace. I'm out.